City, California. You're listening to The Second Column with Joe, Mike, Carlos, and Sean.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to The Second Column. We are here with the full gang, plus special guest Dan Donatelli.
Yes.
Dan, welcome. Glad you could make it.
Thank you.
Glad you could make it. Danny's joining us. Not really anything to plug. Just gonna hang out with us today and throw in his 2 cents. So
Yeah, it's like you said. I'm the show's Gilbert Gottfried.
Gilbert
Show up.
If you're a Howard Stern fan,
Yeah,
he's gonna come in and do something weird. We'll make a clip of it and play it forever. So very good. This week I've written a column called Speech. And it's about a party that Carlos and I were recently at.
Yes.
Where this girl, it was her birthday party, and around like 11:30 at night, everybody sang happy birthday to her, and somebody, after the birthday song, yelled, "Speech!" And of course, everyone, "Speech!"
I think it was me and you that
I think it was us.
Yeah.
So by everyone, I mean me. I instigated this entire thing, so I have something to write about. So that's what happened, and this girl just kind of stood there. But in our defense, like the whole room joined in and demanded a speech.
Yeah.
And she was just kind of like, thanks. And
guys.
you kind of felt the air go out of the room. Like you were at a party, and every party has that moment where it could go like great party or just another party you went to. And kind of at that moment, it kind of like...
It was like the record scratching. Like
it was like metaphorical record scratch.
I would say it was maybe like that moment in the early 90s where James Hetfield got blown up by some onstage pyrotechnics.
Right.
Yeah.
and Axl Rose could have cemented Guns N' Roses in the history of rock and roll, but chose not to go on.
Yeah.
That's true. Perfect moment. And actually didn't the music scene change right after that too. Like everything went grunge after that.
And that was the beginning of grunge right
great
there.
moment. So, same thing, great parallel.
So somebody who was sharing that birthday could have stepped up, and they never did. No one spoke up.
It was sad.
I should have done something.
You could have spoken. Carlos and I were the 2 strangers at the party. Like we didn't know anybody there. So it would have been funny if we would have given the speech.
Yeah.
You know what happened at that moment was everyone realized they're like, this girl didn't even deserve the party room.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't worth it.
It wasn't. She had nothing to say on her own birthday. We all drove out here 3-4 miles.
Which is horrible.
Yeah, exactly.
Party's a privilege, not a right.
Exactly. When are they going to get it right?
The stern hand of Kearney swings once again. Very good, guys. As always, the fellas have read the column beforehand, and they all have something to say about it. Well, we'll start with our guest, Dan. Dan, you always come into these things with about 1 million ideas. What occurred to you this week?
Early on in the column, you made a reference to Goose from Top Gun, who's one of the great characters of all time. Fine movie as well, and it just made me think that the way that he died, if you remember, when he broke his neck on the glass
of the skate patch, the ejection seat.
Ejection, yes.
Yeah, I was thinking that there might be a link between that. Like maybe that knocked the first hair out that subsequently led to the balding character on ER triggering the brain tumor that killed him on that show. So maybe it was a double death.
Mm-hmm.
It's strange. I'm sure writers and producers just kept looking at him and thinking of different ways to
kill
lose his hair and kill his head.
Yeah.
And he became typecast as the guy whose head gives him problems.
Right. Well,
see,
prevented him from escaping from the claim.
It's all part of the conspiracy.
He had a shaver now. He's like with a shaved head, I think now.
Yeah, I think he rocks the shaved head now.
No offense.
No offense taken. I myself have a shaved head. Danny, if our audience has not seen, also has a shaved head. Danny is more concerned about the shaved head than anybody I know. We've had many conversations about the shaved head in popular culture. Danny has a lot of theories.
The balding white man in popular culture is
always either angry
or inept,
or completely inept.
It's really a shame.
Well, how about the guy from Star Trek?
We've found a couple.
There are a couple counterexamples, but the
majority.
The vast majority.
Vast majority. Okay.
Where would Woody Harrelson fall? Is he angry or inept or both?
Danny, good question.
Yeah.
Great question.
See, it's characters, not people.
Oh.
So yeah, that's a good point. Mm-hmm. Danny, we'll often point out we love The Shield, and Vic Mackey is like the badass angry cop who is completely bald.
Yeah, so either he's the angry guy, or in the commercial he represents Product X, who's like spraying the weed killer in his eyes, and
isn't the Mac guy and the PC guy? Isn't the PC guy like
he has a comb over?
Does he have a comb over?
Yeah,
he's balding.
Yeah,
right?
it's not as cool as the Mac guys.
Right. When in real life, bald guys are awesome.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah. Exactly.
What? No, I don't know about that.
But, all right, sons of bitches. Thanks a lot.
I feel sorry for you. That's why I hang out with you.
Why do you feel sorry for me?
Wow.
Why would you? Come on. My bald head has been nothing but a source of power for
Yeah.
us.
Well, I do.
But
Tell
if,
it to
if Carlos hangs out with Joe because he feels sorry for him, then it's the perfect equal relationship. Because Joe has admitted to me many a times why he hangs out with you.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when you have a dog with 3 legs. You don't give that dog away.
I
you
have
know?
2 legs.
Right. Well, no, I'm just saying metaphorically. You're like a dog with 3 legs.
You're a metaphorical.
Yeah, that's
We
good.
feel sorry for
I'm glad
each
we have this pity-based friendship. It's
It works well.
It's very, very exciting. That's very good. Excellent. And Sean, you gave a speech at a party one time, but this was kind of an unusual speech.
I gave a speech. My grandmother, probably a few years ago, my grandma retired, and she had a 70th birthday party / retirement party. And it was a big deal. We had it at like a banquet hall, at like a hotel. And, my parents both come from Irish Catholic, big Irish Catholic families. Or my dad does, I'm sorry. And he has 6 or 7 brothers and sisters, and they have cousins and relatives and stuff. So it was a ton of people there. And I decided, like, the night before, I wrote up a quick little speech. And I thought, I'll give a speech. I'm her first grandson.
Sure.
But how old were you?
I was like 14, 15.
So you're 15 years old, called to speak at a retirement party.
Yeah.
There's something great about that.
There's-
Guy
yeah,
who's never entered the workforce, now going to give the final
Wow.
say on what did your grandma do?
She was a teacher.
Okay.
And I was a freshman in high school, I think. So
Okay.
so it seemed natural, right?
2.5 years ago. 2.5 years.
So yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was.
Just
I think it was 3 years ago.
Yeah, it's just happened.
Yeah, the Red Sox had just won the World Series.
Right,
When was
right.
that?
All right. So what
so I gave
what
a
words of
speech.
brilliance does a 15-year-old to have to say to a 70-year-old grandmother?
I think my entire speech was telling her not to retire because I was gonna miss all the checks that she sent me because she lived in Chicago, and so I was like, I don't know my grandmother that well. We live very far away, but she every year, she sends me so much money.
Yeah.
And I feel like, now that she's retiring and there's so many more grandkids to support, those checks are going to stop.
Right. So it was purely selfishness.
It was, yeah.
And when you're that age, you don't realize. Like, I remember thinking, like, when I was 14 or 15 or younger, like, if my dad lost his job, we'd have to move out of the house. Like, you never think, your parents might have like a month or two's salary saved up, or
Yeah, there might be
or your
something
grandma could retire and support herself for 20 years. Like, no, you just think
And
she's
the grand,
done.
Well, the grand irony of it is that she owned an apartment building in the north side of Chicago.
Oh, damn.
And she had bought it for $100,000 like 50 years before, 40 years before, and the district she bought it in became the biggest gay district in Chicago.
Oh,
know.
When prices went through the roof, and
Yeah.
she just sold the building for $750,000
Holy cow.
on like $100,000 investment. So she ended up, I think she's wealthier now than she ever was. But I gave this speech, and my uncles, I was part of the family, but I was in this weird position where I was young. I was the oldest grandkid by about 10 years, actually. And then I was also younger than all my uncles by about 10 years.
Yeah.
So I was in this weird kind of position, and that like solidified me as like one of the guys.
It was a
in
rite
the
of
family.
passage
It was
to
a rite of
give the
passage.
speech.
They loved me after that and snuck me drinks the entire night.
That's pretty cool. So
yeah, it was awesome.
I think it's kind of funny. It'd be funny if your grandma bought the building in like 1950, painted it pink, and then it changed the whole neighborhood. Like it became the gay neighborhood because of something she did.
It was weird. She she thought she was a big John Waters fan and used to do screenings
Wow.
at the
Really?
house, and was very surprised when suddenly it became the
That's crazy.
Maybe she started the rainbow because every year they kept trying to paint the apartment building like different colors.
Very possible.
There we go.
Well, you do
Wow.
know a lot about the Chicago gay district, Carlos. so-
Well, I live in
West Hollywood. That's
yeah.
a good point. This is
Of course.
It's a very good.
Don't look at me that way.
I'm not judging you, Carlos. Your thoughts. Actually, we were talking before the podcast. Your dad gave a memorable speech.
He did. I don't want to say he gave the speech. I think I would say the roast gave a better speech.
Okay. Well, what was the?
Well, what it was just an occasion. My folks were in Argentina, and it was a big family reunion. I wasn't there, but they told me about this when they came back.
Because it's one of those stories that just demand to be told. Right.
And so what it was they were gonna do a roast like to our health kind of thing, and my dad was gonna say something. So I guess everybody has a big habit of doing a toast, kind of like where they put their hands really high up, put the glass.
Like a toast with your arm, with your hands
yeah.
in the air. Yeah.
So then the fan, unfortunately, no one realized that there was a fan above them, and so they were all on this table like a circle. And my dad just raised his glass and just charred of just like glass just flew everywhere. I mean, the fan was it was really hot because the fan was going full blast. So, and it just like a piece of glass just hit my dad's hand, and they had to go to the emergency room.
Yeah.
So finally, like hours later, they came back and they tried to do it again. Everyone's like, speech.
Yeah, and so your dad raised his glass.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, forget it.
It'd been funny if he just kept doing it.
I think
over
he
and
wanted
over.
to do it. I think so.
I can do it this time.
It was like the Pink Panther moment. It was
It's
really hard.
a very Pink Panther moment.
So typical of my family.
Your dad's so soft spoken too. It's like a quiet, good.
Yeah, I don't know
nice
what
guy.
he was gonna say.
It's so funny that maybe like for the first time in 50 years, he was
He's
gonna
gonna
stand
say-
up and
Yeah.
say something. Like he finally like.
And God said
God
no.
said no.
Exactly. That.
the fan.
It's funny that you bring up like a Pink Panther moment because I just had last night. I had one of those weird like sitcom-y moments, like something that if it happened in a TV show, I'd be like, really? Like it's so cliched.
Yeah.
I bumped into a buddy of mine that I hadn't seen in a really long time, and I'm friends with his girlfriend actually, and he wasn't with his girlfriend. We bumped into him at a restaurant, and it was just him. And I'm asking about his girlfriend. Oh, how's this? Oh, I just saw her. You know, she's studying abroad. She's up in Italy, and I just got back. And I'm like, cool. What are you doing here? Oh, I'm just here with my buddy Charlie. And so I think like, oh, cool. And I go back to doing what I'm doing. And about 10 minutes later, this girl walks up with him, and he goes, oh, I'd like to introduce you to my friend Charlie. And it was like that couldn't have been more of a sitcom-y moment.
Yeah.
Like this
Yeah.
guy had been caught with another girl.
Yeah.
He tried to shrug it off as like but I didn't know if I don't know if the guy's like cheating on his girlfriend or
Yes,
not.
he is.
but,
He is. He is.
But he didn't say I'm here with a girl.
but he didn't. Yeah, like I'm here with my buddy Charlie,
My
and right
buddy.
as she walked up, I was like, this could be, you know.
See, if you say buddy, it doesn't make it cheating.
Did she
Yeah.
look like a girl? It wasn't like a guy. You know, it just turned to.
I mean,
you know,
I wouldn't consider myself an expert on the subject of
right.
women, but I can usually pick them out.
okay.
Yeah,
All right,
I give
just
Sean
wondering.
credit. I give Sean
Yeah.
credit in that.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
I think he could get a vibe with that one.
Still
but-
young.
Yeah, I do like when people are caught in the shady side of the fence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, my buddy. It's just
My
my buddy.
buddy.
It's my buddy. No, my buddy's got her shirt off. It's my buddy.
Oh boy.
It's all right. We're buddies.
Yeah, we're just buds.
We're just buddies.
buds shower together.
Buds
What?
do that.
Well, I don't.
Girl and guy
Gym
buds.
class.
You ever
Oh,
had
yeah.
a good
Oh, yeah.
friend? Yeah.
My friends and I, we
Whoa.
caught
Hey, Mike's
Mike's
here.
in the room.
Mike's here.
Guess who stopped? Speech.
Speech.
well, my friends and I caught one of my this guy that we knew, his dad. We caught him having an affair. It was a very awkward.
Literally caught him.
How'd you? What
moment. Yeah, it
happened?
was my buddy and I went
Were you on
down.
the case?
Wait, your
Yeah.
buddy.
My
Who's your buddy?
Your friend.
my friend,
Right.
you know, from grade school.
Did you guys have like a magnifying glass? And
His
a,
name.
like the Hardy Boys.
yeah, it was the Hardy Boys
Yeah.
Mysteries. All right, what happened? How'd
He's
you guys
on
do
the
it?
case.
How'd you guys do it?
We went down to this park by his house, and it was with my friend Brody, and my friend's dad came with us
Okay.
because he was gonna toss a football around with us. So we went down. Yes, it's really funny.
It's like a gay porn movie.
What?
Wait,
Normally,
wait,
normally when
where did you
men, well, there's a whole thing about men going to parks.
Yeah.
and,
Okay.
I get where he's going with that. But so the dad was gonna go throw the football around with you guys.
Yeah. We went down to the park and we started throwing the football around, and then we noticed that there was an older guy and a younger woman like making out in the one of the ends of the park, and then we kind of looked at the guy and like, isn't that? And I'll call him Steve. Isn't that Steve's dad? And
Mike
my
does have a friend named
Brody-
Yeah, I was gonna say, I know Steve.
Sorry, Steve. It's not that Steve.
It's not
but,
that Steve. All right.
But
It's a different Steve.
I
It's a
said,
different-
I'd
"Isn't
also,
that
what I
Steve's
just
dad?"
also like to point out really quick that every time somebody's tried to use like a fake name for somebody,
Yeah.
Mike's always
Outed
called
them.
bullshit on them
Yeah,
and
and
outed
outed
them.
them.
It's oh they don't care.
Yeah.
But now Mike is using
Right.
the alias.
All right, but
Well, it's
in all
not-
fairness,
it's not the same Steve.
In all fairness, that's cool. Okay, so you notice the older guy and the young girl.
This
are
guy
making
wasn't
out.
Chinese, so it
Okay.
can't be the
Fair
Steve
enough,
that I
fair
know.
enough.
Oh, what?
So you guys,
jeez.
this guy is playing football with you guys one moment.
Yes, and no, not my friend and my friend's dad was playing football with me,
Okay.
and we saw my other friend's dad.
Steve's dad.
Okay, we saw an older guy and a younger woman
Right.
playing, just messing around. And I said, "Hey, that looks like Steve's dad."
Yeah.
And my friend goes, "That is Steve's dad." And then my friend's dad is like, "Well, let's find out."
What a jerk.
So he called
Yeah.
out. He actually called out. He's like, "Hey, Al." we both looked and we're like, "Oh my god!" And he looked up, and then he realized
Oh,
he was caught.
busted.
And so they got up and they're like, "Hey," and then they walked away.
Yeah, they walked
And
away.
then
Did you know
and
the girl?
I didn't say anything to anyone about this, But I heard like a number of months later
They
that
were divorced.
Yeah, his parents got divorced.
Did he know the
Now,
girl?
I knew. No, he was a teacher at USC.
Oh, man.
So it was one of his students, I think. And
That's hot.
the odd part is I didn't see. I wasn't really good friends with his son, but I did summer school one year with him, and his dad would take us into school. So it was weird. It was really weird.
So his parents got divorced. That's hilarious, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Still funny.
That's actually a much happier ending than most of Mike's stories.
That's true.
It finally got settled.
No,
Everyone's alive.
what a terrible place to have an affair. A public park. I mean,
Yeah. It has public in the name.
it has public in the
It
name.
was a nice park.
Well, I'm sure it was,
I would imagine. I would
It had
only
like an
imagine.
ocean view, you know.
I'm sure it was a wonderful park.
It actually had a very good soccer.
It would have been
ground.
great if he actually played football with you guys. Like he actually joined you.
yeah,
guys.
if he would have run over and been like, I came for the No, it was
Sorry, I
bad.
thought you guys were meeting here.
Right. That's crazy, Mike. That's big time gossip in the neighborhood. So
Yeah.
way nuts.
But I'd never told anybody. I didn't even tell my own parents, and my mom found out through my friend's mom. And she said, "Wow, you saw this?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
Boy,
She's
Mike,
like, "Why didn't you say anything?" I'm like, "I don't know. I just
You're a guy.
You don't
when
want to."
Mike does omerta, he does.
Yeah, he
takes
does
the
it for
vow,
real.
the Sicilian vow of
Yeah.
silence.
Well, it's I figured they were gonna find out anyway. I mean,
Yeah.
Oh, don't play it down. It's guy code.
Yeah, dude, you did a good job.
Well played, sir.
Even though you protected that man's affair, for some reason
Yep.
we think that was the right thing to
I
do.
think it is. I think I would have done the same. I would
It
have
was
said
none of my
yeah.
business, and I didn't want them finding out. Through like a rumor that I was
Right.
If I
spreading.
was a dad like that guy, I wouldn't even do that. I would just go like, okay, kid, let's just go around.
No, more power to the
No,
dad. That's
no,
awesome.
no.
Yeah, that's funny if the dad
keep
calls.
it-
That's
out.
where you can break
No,
guy
because
code.
every
It's
yeah,
to be
because
funny.
every husband who's been married for a long time wants that, but if you see some guy getting it, it's
Yeah,
kind of like,
it's like,
hey
F
Al,
you.
F you, you're not getting this,
Yeah,
man.
nope.
We're harsh on this stuff right now.
Al.
So Brody's dad, then when we got back, we told his mom.
Wait, who?
My
Oh,
friend
the friend,
Brody,
yeah.
Through
and
the
we
football, yeah.
told his mom what happened, and she got really mad at my friend's dad for
Yeah.
calling out his name. She got because he was laughing about it.
Oh, he's a jerk.
Like he's
No, he's a
like
man.
him. He's a jerk.
I like him too. I do
Yeah.
the same thing.
But
like him.
he got in big trouble. Like I saw like a wife scorn.
Well, yeah, but the dad's like, hey, if I don't get to cheat, nobody gets to
Nobody-
cheat.
yeah.
That's the thing, man. Nobody has
Totally.
sex but me.
No,
That's the way
man.
men think.
That's like when there's one beer left and you just throw it out the window. You're like, no, if I'm not taking this,
No,
it's
neither
going to
are
hell.
you. I don't know if we need to throw beer out the
Yeah,
window.
really.
That's true.
That's a
What
little
are you
rough.
talking about?
That's a little. Very good. Back, and Mike, that's great. It was a great story. I don't know how to transition away from that. It's just,
Amazing.
it's bizarre. Anyway, we were talking about speeches, and Danny and I were talking about ringers for speeches. And it's kind of funny because we do live in a world now where everything is specialized. So why not have a speech specialist at your party? Dan, did you have anybody who you'd have in mind? Or?
Well, first I started with the idea that I'm sure nobody intentionally invited Fidel Castro to the
Oh,
party.
right.
Jesus.
Speech, no,
no,
speech.
no, stop, Fidel.
No, yeah.
How would you say don't speak, Fidel?
No, I lost.
No hablas,
No.
Fidel. How do you say go away?
I don't know. That's that lead.
How do you say the
Or
papaya is ripe?
no.
I'm sorry, I'm just pimping you out right now. So anyway, I don't know.
I don't know. Papaya is bueno.
So,
So
yeah,
then just on the other side of that is you invite Winston Churchill to your
be a
party, just in
great-
case
That'd be a
someone,
great-
right.
Yeah,
If it's like a girl's quinceanera, she's just turned 15 or
There's-
whatever, and you have Winston Churchill there.
You guys know the story. I don't know if you do, but a lot of famous jazz musicians like Charlie Parker, Miles Davis.
No, there was just those two.
Yeah.
So.
Wow, that is a
Davis.
white man talking
I've
right
actually-
there.
Charlie Davis, Miles Parker.
I've actually heard that they sometimes actually play weddings because that's the jazz scene. Like you may think these guys have made a lot of money, but jazz music doesn't make a lot of money. So these guys are still musicians. They'll play things if you pay them enough. So that does strike me as interesting. Could you see Winston Churchill trying to make a few extra bucks and just going to speak at
Well, they kind of do.
the random
they do.
Yeah.
the random wedding
a lot
party
of,
that
Bill
he
Clinton's
doesn't
made
know.
a
I
lot
was
of
gonna say
money.
Bill Clinton would definitely do that.
Yeah.
But how intense would the speech be? If it was just some sort of very simple,
Do not let an iron curtain descend across your bed.
Yeah, exactly.
On your wedding night.
See, that's the thing. It's because
Wouldn't
they
that be
do.
great?
They do. I know Clinton does Microsoft things and
Yeah.
things like that. But I think you need to take. I think you're onto something with take those famous speeches and
And
just
put them in very ordinary situations.
Yeah,
you know,
That mean nothing. Like,
I
you
mean,
know,
yeah, but still, just you
Yeah.
know, just hit those points like someone watching a Monty Python sketch. Just hit
Or like-
the dead
Right.
bird.
yeah.
You know,
John Mailman is retiring. You know, have Winston
John
Churchill
Mailman.
John Mailman. Fuck. What else is he gonna do? He was born to be a mailman.
Yeah.
That's like a
His
Jew.
father was a mailman.
I remember
His
he worked at UPS for 2 weeks and they fired his ass.
Yeah.
I think it was Jewish. No.
Mailman. Danny, did you have something you wanted to?
Yeah, just I had an idea of bringing in Ronald Reagan to a wedding speech, and he's like,
Well.
"Mr. Groom, tear down that hymen."
Oh, that would make. Oh,
I like
that would pump me up, man.
Yeah.
It would. I'll bring the American flag. You know.
Well,
Right?
we all know how you get a semi for 80s politicians.
Oh, I love it.
Just
man.
in general.
4 score and many scoring
Oh,
tonight.
Yeah. Wink, wink.
Winky, winky. This speech was 287 words long, written on the back of an envelope in a church parking lot.
Do caucus.
What would do?
Bush.
Yeah, what would you have to do?
You're saying words now. We're
You're
just
just,
saying
you're just
words.
saying political names.
Well, yeah. Do caucus.
That's how Carlos
Bush.
argues politically. I'm like, what do you think of the Republican stance? And he's like, Christopher Dodd, Mike Gravel,
Come on. But do
Come on.
caucus.
Dan Quayle.
Bush. Come on.
Carlos only reads polls.
Yeah.
So he only knows names and
Yeah.
then percentages.
It's very
Oh.
true. Considering he has IMDb memorized,
Yes.
it totally makes sense that he would only know the players and something, and not anything else. Very good, Danny. I would love to hear those speeches. That would be.
I want Mike to do my speeches.
I know we've only seen Mike do one speech, and well, actually, I've seen Mike do 2. We saw him at his birthday party where he spoke, and it was a very nice speech.
Yes.
And then last week, our friends at the Great Adventure did their last show on Saturday night, and Mike gave kind of the end of the night speech from our improv group.
Yeah, it really wasn't a speech though. It
But
was
everyone
just,
thought Mike was gonna cry.
Yeah, I
at
thought
the
you were
very
gonna
end.
cry.
Like we all, I don't know. You weren't there, Sean, but like Mike had a little quiver, a little bit of an emotion. It was.
Well,
Wow.
it wasn't that. I was actually out of breath because I had just done a scene where I was a very intense Japanese sushi chef.
I
You were
remember.
intense in a scene?
Yeah,
and
I
I
know, it
was
was weird.
chopping up some sushi and yelling at Joe.
Yeah.
And then they called the lights.
In an unusual twist, Mike was yelling at me.
And then I was when I was giving the speech, I was out of breath, and that may have sounded
Your
like,
voice cracked a little.
All
Yeah.
I'm saying is your eyes were locked with Kevin Ford's, and it sounded like you were going to cry. So that's all I'm going to
No,
say.
Kevin Ford was in the back.
crying.
No, he was on the front.
I think Kevin
Crying.
I think Kevin got a little weepy.
Yeah.
The other night. Yeah.
So, but I wouldn't call that like a speech. That was more just like
That was an impromptu speech. It was
Yeah,
very
it was.
good.
a
Speech.
It was
Don't
very
sell
nice.
yourself short.
Yeah, dude.
It was very heartfelt. I thought it was really good. So
I wanted to start the slow clap, but I just thought otherwise.
Man, anytime you want to do a slow clap at one of our shows, I think I even put that in the column this week. The slow clap, like I have the unusual ending with the slow clap during the speech that I wrote,
Right.
With the guys talking to Larry. By the way, Danny does not like the fact that I call the turd Larry in this column.
Yeah, I had recently read The Razor's Edge by Somerset Maugham, and Larry's a really cool character in that book. So it just threw me
Okay,
off.
here's what I just heard.
Well, Larry's also-
I'm a smarter than you. Smarter.
Oh.
Smarter.
I should not.
than you.
You're right. It doesn't sound as good. I read a book, and that was the guy's name.
You lost me at Reed.
Right. Isn't Somerset? Wasn't that a street in Mayfield Heights? Like what's Somerset Maugham? No. Yeah. Usually, and here's the thing: I've been writing sketches and columns, and everything. Through the years, my turd guy name started off with Todd. That was always the turd guy.
That is
was
his
always
I like
named
that.
Todd. But there's
Yeah.
this really great
Yeah.
guy that Tommy went to school with, who's a Todd. So, and he actually said, "I read your column every week, and I like your column, but I resent the fact that you always make the turd guy Todd." So I made Todd became Rick. So Rick became the new turd name.
I used to read Ranger Rick. I know I said Reed. But so I think
jealous,
Rick is
Dan?
an environmentalist thing.
I used to listen to Rick Springfield too. So
Yes.
you know.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, again,
I have a signed guitar by
Proving
Rick
my point.
Springfield.
Yeah.
Exactly.
proving my point. So Rick became the turd name, and then so if we ever do a scene together, improv or whatever, and I call somebody Rick, that means they're a turd.
Right.
And then I'll throw in Larry, but Larry to me wasn't turdy so much as it was just average guy. Like
Wait, Joe, you called Mike Rick earlier. You just
Wait,
hey,
what?
Rick. No, I just wanted to call him a
Say
turd.
that. No, that's not true.
Yeah,
That's
what's
what?
going on here?
Huh?
That's what you refer to Mike as on the phone. Is Mike there? You mean Rick?
Yeah, Rick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got
He's
a
here.
I got a label maker and put Rick all over all Mike's stuff, so he knows where he stands with
Rick's
me.
guitar.
Rick's guitar, Rick's
Rick's chair.
cabbage, Rick's cabbage in the refrigerator.
You know, this all kind of reminds me of Dostoevsky's letters from the underground.
Oh, sweet.
What? I'm sorry, Danny. Am I out of your league?
You're right too. Yeah, you're right.
All I heard is that you're dumb.
Carlos said, "I'm a dumb.
See,
I didn't believe you to the last.
I had a hamster. The reason I say that is I actually named him Dostoevsky.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh.
Nice.
and it's that same kind of logic. Like you have President Clinton like do a speech at a bar mitzvah. It's like same kind of thing. Like great Russian writer, very depressing, but putting that name on like a hamster. I just wanted to see the interesting parallel.
How did he act? Did he live up to his name?
He was a weird hamster. Like, I think
He just sat down at
I
the table
think
and I remember reading.
it's weird.
Yeah.
I think he was always plotting because
Okay.
it'd be in the middle of the night. I'd come in to get a glass of water and I'd hear him on his wheel, like spinning. And then I would walk in, and then as soon as I would walk in, the wheel would stop spinning and it would just be silent. So he wanted me to think that he went to sleep.
It's almost like you caught him doing something.
It's funny though because I can just imagine being your mom, Mike, as I often do, and
creepy.
and
No.
you coming to me saying, Mom, my hamster's plotting. I think my hamster's plotting against me, and going, Jesus Christ, Mike, can I buy anything for you without you turning it into something far more intense than it really is?
Everything in your life is insidious.
Have you ever
Yeah.
have you ever owned a hamster or a small furry creature of any sort? Gerbil? Any
Rabbits. I had 2 rabbits.
rabbits don't count because like
Okay,
rabbits
sure.
rabbits can die very easily.
Well, I mean, as opposed to
Maybe they don't live forever.
the eternal hamster.
Well, no, this hamster went on for a while. In fact, I ended
Oh,
up.
perfect. I was just gonna say that to match Dostoevsky, it would have to live way too long, and it dies a horrible, cold
tragic
Siberian
death.
death at the end.
Did it throw
ended
itself
up-
in front of a train?
Yeah.
No. I think he had a very good end because I actually gave him to a third grade class because I wasn't around much and I figured he was getting bored. So it'd be more fun if he had kids around. So I heard all the kids they actually ended up calling him Dosty because they couldn't say Dostoevsky.
Oh, that's cute.
Really? The kids in the 3rd grade didn't know about Dostoevsky? I guess they didn't go to Danny's school.
Yeah. They didn't go to Saint Awesome of the super smarts.
Super elementary school.
Hey, I read the Christmas tree in 2nd grade.
Oh.
That's like retarded school. Nah, I'm just kidding.
That's a famous story by Dostoevsky.
Okay.
In all fairness, Danny is a voracious reader.
Yes, he is.
Ooh.
A bibliophile.
He's a bibliophile.
Really?
So what I guess you would be to porn, Carlos, and
Pornophile.
Wow.
Mike
Is that
would be
what-
to plague and pestilence, and
diseases.
Sean and I would be to good times. Danny,
Oh, please.
Danny is to
Jackos.
Danny is to books and other such. Other
Yeah,
stuff.
I think one of these episodes when Mike's maybe sick with some sort of avian flu and
Right.
Carlos is at home, we should just do our podcast called Good Times.
Good
with,
times.
Joe
Yeah, the
and
Good Times
Sean.
podcast.
You should know I actually have a fever at this very moment. What? Yeah, a couple days ago I got this I don't know, it's like a Barbonian flu. Of
Well, you know,
some
it's
kind.
weird. Dengue fever just started hitting in South America
Oh,
last week. So
shit.
yeah.
Space flu is coming out.
An hour before the podcast, Mike's sitting in the living room. Is anyone else hot? It's very hot. It's very warm. I
He
feel
did
like
it
it's
right
hot.
now, right as we sat down to do this. He's like, "Is it too cold? Is it too hot?"
It's too hot. I feel
I
like
don't know
it's-
what I don't know what I am.
I feel like
No,
it's
right,
too-
yeah, right now I'm like sweating. I mean, it's weird. It's like madness of the
Nah, it's
fever
really
season.
not that weird though.
Ah, you look fine, Mike. Don't worry about it.
I'm
Yeah.
sweating like a.
Yeah, you're fine.
Hey, you're healthy. You're healthier than a horse.
What does that mean?
What
I don't
does
know.
that mean?
I
Because
don't know.
it's like, why is a horse so healthy?
Well, they're full muscular. Have you seen a horse?
Yeah, but I mean, it doesn't make. I mean, I don't know. They aren't the healthiest things in the world. I mean,
Horses are good.
I think they're good.
Mike, what do you know about levels of health across the animal kingdom?
Mike's got his equine health chart. Hey, this is funny. Like we were, before we do every podcast, and just kind of like let you into the process. Is the guys sit down and they read it, and we discuss the column, and we talk about things that might be fun to talk about on the show. And Mike didn't really have much this week, which is totally cool. Like some weeks you're just not gonna have stuff, but
Wow, you're a
but-
great friend, Joe.
but Mike had the greatest comment of the whole day, which made me laugh. Which was we were talking about Cincinnatus.
yeah.
And Mike, you said you liked Cincinnatus because he could just whoop ass and he would go back to his farm.
Yeah.
And then Mike paused. There's a very dramatic pause, and he goes, "I'm a farmer."
Yeah.
I can see that.
It was awesome because Mike does have 8 plants now. So
Yeah, I do, and I think it would be really cool to like actually wouldn't that be awesome? You know, like, you know, I'm out there farming, and then I don't know, like a neighbor. You can be the neighbor. Say you got some problem with.
Hi, Mike.
What seems to be the problem?
My dog ran up the tree again.
That's not a real problem. I need a problem.
Oh, there's a leak in my kitchen.
Don't you have a problem with one of the neighbors?
Okay, the Persian neighbors down the street are playing their music.
Say
too
no
loud.
more. I'll go take care of it.
Okay, my first two problems still need to be addressed by somebody.
You can still
Come
shoot
back.
that dog down the tree.
Come back, and the Persians are wiped out.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
Well, that's
it's
what
like 300.
Cincinnatus was called in for wars.
Yes.
Like, he was a farmer, and they'd be
So
like,
he was
hey,
a-
you got to go battle the South Field. And he'd be like, all right, I'll go.
So
And
he
he
was
goes
a
and
hitman?
battles a bloody battle, and then he comes back, and then he farms.
But I don't know if 6 plants constitutes a farmer, and I don't know if getting really anxious and nervous when trouble comes your way constitutes going to war.
Wait.
So close.
Exactly. Wait, you were there that night in the parking lot.
That's exactly what I'm referring
Oh,
to.
gosh.
Is okay, really quick.
Oh,
really
yeah,
quick.
yeah, I
We-
remember this.
it's me, Mike, and Joe, and I believe Carlos. Maybe no,
Yeah.
I think it was just the 3 of us.
No, yeah, you're right.
We went to a play, and there was a sign telling us to park in a lot, and we were really late to the play, so we parked where the sign told us to park. Went to the theater, which was down the street a little bit. Came back to get our car, and our car was blocked in, and somebody was telling us that he was a
crack
crackhead.
addict.
He was a crack addict.
Crackhead.
And he was telling us that
A meth head.
he's calling the cops, and they're gonna come tow our cars. And Mike got really, really flustered.
Yeah.
And finally, the director of the play actually had blocked us in with his car.
Who's a big Jamaican guy, by the way.
And he walks out and it's like, I'm going to take care of this. I take care of this. And walks to his car, and Mike grabs me and goes, get in my fucking car.
No, I said, get in the fucking car.
Yeah.
Because we got to go.
Which really put the crackhead at ease.
No, but that's not the whole story. I got blocked in by some Chinese guy.
Well, there was that other guy with the minivan.
Oh, there was another guy who
The
blocked
guy,
you.
and
Yeah,
he
sorry.
blocked us in like on purpose.
Yeah.
And then,
They were trying to extort us for money.
and the funniest
Yeah.
part though was when like all this loud noise and arguing was going on between the Jamaican guy and the meth head. Joe was just standing there watching, and all of a sudden, just out of the blue, this huge homeless guy walks right up next to Joe, and Joe doesn't even notice him.
I was cool.
And
as a
then he
cucumber.
looked, and then he realized he was standing next to this huge
Yeah, this
homeless
gigantic guy.
guy. Like,
That was
who
cool.
was
though.
just interested, was just interested.
Look at this is how my hand was right here. Look at that.
Wow.
Steady as a rock.
Can you see that, viewers?
Steady as a rock.
It's steady.
I ran away with this hand. So yeah, no, it was quite a night. And
But
yeah.
Mike handled himself gracefully. He freaked out, and halfway down the street told me, you know what, man? I was like, when they were arguing, I was 5 minutes away from just driving through one of those fences. Like, I was thinking, I could do it and get away with it.
What's the opposite of grace under fire? Like fire under fire?
Fire.
Costantini under
Coward,
Yeah.
cowardice.
well, because you
maybe?
could tell that like Chinese guy and the meth guy were working together.
Oh yeah,
like,
they clearly were trying
it was
to
a
extort.
scam.
Yeah, it was a scam
you know?
to get more money out of
And I
it.
don't want to have to like pay to get out of there.
What was the guy? Didn't you say something to the guy who actually was like? You said, ass.
Oh, the guy who was blocking you in.
Move-
One of the guys.
come
who
on.
Yeah,
was
I'm like, move your car.
But I think you put the word ass at the end of it. Yeah, move your
No,
car,
but here's
ass.
the thing.
Emphasis.
He said it wasn't his car, but then he called some woman, and then she came down and moved the car.
Right, it was all.
It was
It
really
was
weird.
all shenanigans.
Yeah.
Calling shenanigans. On
By the way, it's hysteria under inconvenience.
it was hysteria.
Yes.
It was hysteria under slight
Yes.
inconvenience. Well put. Thank you, literary smarty smart.
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
Okay, very good. We've
It's a
come.
Walt Whitman poem, I bet.
It is. It is.
Show off.
It is only slightly less gay. So, all right, we've come to the end of the show. We're gonna wrap things up with the aftermath. Yeah, there it is. Very good. We're gonna whip around our room and give our final thoughts. Mike, you had a slow start today, but you came on strong at the end. Well played, sir.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Speech.
It's not every day I have a fever.
Speech.
I think you and Danny, Joe and Danny, I think you guys are lucky because you guys look good bald. Because I've had an enormous problem lately
Look at Mike's hair.
trying to. We have to describe it for the audience.
Well, Mike's got his headphones on, but even though the headphones are on, he only has like about 100 hairs in the very front.
He has like bangs.
Sticking up.
Yeah, right where the like widow's peak or whatever is. Like
Yeah.
they're sticking straight up like 2 inches over his head,
Yeah.
and the rest of his hair is flat.
Yeah.
It's like a backwards mullet.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I went to Floyd's barber shop and I just got a horrible haircut.
Is that his real name?
And part of the reason is like I go there and like I started off getting this woman that I liked, but then she ended up on some dating show in Italy.
Yeah,
so then
that's amore.
Yeah, is it? Is
Yes.
that the show?
I think
I
so.
guess she does a lot of reality shows. She's actually one of the former America's Next Top Model.
So anyway,
whatever.
your girl was out of town.
Well, yeah, and it's just, but it's never consistent. And I got
someone did that to
I
you.
got this butch
Yeah.
woman's like, "What do you want done?" And I'm like, "Well, I want a good haircut," and she just buzzed it.
Yeah. It's a
And
little
I look
scary.
ridiculous. I look like an eraser meets a Muppet. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Mike's kind of rocking a
So,
little
Mike,
bit.
you were saying that I look good, though. Joe and I look good, so
Yeah.
go with that. I wanted to hear more about that.
Yeah,
Yeah. Let's dwell on
if
that.
if I could go bald and look good, I'd probably do it. And
Yeah.
just save myself the trouble.
Yeah, I don't know if you could though. You have kind of a bucket head.
Well, yeah, I would not look good bald. I would look terrible
It might be-
bald.
All right, fair enough. So
Yeah.
Mike would shave. Very good. Okay, Mr. Carlos.
Oh gosh, I think after that, I don't want Mike to be my speech ringer. at
No,
all.
he wouldn't be your speech ringer?
No, not really. 'Cause
Mike
he-
gives good speeches though. It's scary, but it's good.
I think at my funeral maybe, but
And he won't be there for that.
yeah, no. Totally.
Wait, hold on. Do you think that Mike's gonna outlive you? What's the
No,
over-
I think I am.
Really?
He is gonna outlive me. I think. I
That's
think
the thing.
all of
Mike
us-
Mike will fear death more than any of us, and he'll bury us
Yes,
all.
yes.
That's how it usually goes.
But he'll hate it, I think.
Yeah.
And that
Oh, yeah.
will be the
Well,
that'll be the
bored.
cosmic joke.
Right. He'll be healthier than any of us, and he'll come to loathe his health.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's a very grim end to the podcast this week.
Well, I also learned.
Next week we have Jolly the Clown coming in.
Jolly.
No,
It's good. Yeah,
Give me the Sean and Joe, the Sean and Joe Good Times podcast.
Yeah,
next
exactly.
week.
No,
Okay.
I also learned that gays actually mean big money in your pockets. I guess for
Yeah, for Sean's
our real
family.
estate family.
Yeah, for Sean's family.
Real estate. Yeah.
My gay
Congratulations.
family.
Congratulations to your
Good
grandmother.
job.
Exactly. Daniel, your final thought?
Yeah, you made a reference in your column to the 3 a.m. phone call, and there was something
yeah.
that I always found funny about that commercial, that political.
The Hillary Clinton Barack Obama commercial. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking that if the phone's ringing at 3 a.m. in the Clinton White House, that ain't for Hillary. That ain't for Hillary.
Why do they keep?
Excuse
Why do they
me.
keep hanging up? Why do they keep hanging up? They keep hanging up.
Listen, baby.
I thought you were gonna go with why she always wearing a pantsuit, but, but that was a good. I hadn't heard that joke before, and
That's one of the best.
that's good, Dan.
Yeah,
that's really
that's
good.
great.
Dan, that's up there with the full dangle. Congratulations.
They could have
Congratulations.
used that on the Daily Show. They could've used that on
Congratulations.
anything.
Very well put. Okay,
Always-
Sean.
always
Sean,
thinking.
Sean, take us out.
It's just funny as I sit here, just as we talk, I'm just kind of reminded of an Ibsen play. I don't know if any of you guys have,
Oh man!
you guys
wow.
ever read or studied
yeah,
Ibsen.
yeah.
Oh, Danny.
It's just-
Danny wipes his ass with that stuff.
Oh,
Yeah, he does. He wipes his ass.
Oh
with
yeah, I forgot.
Oh, Ibsen.
Come on.
All right. Wow, Sean turned his ire on Danny today.
Yep.
Very interesting how the worm has turned.
To be fully honest, I did feel like a jerk as I was saying that. But again, it's just like
That's
I
not-
can't be like he was a guy in a book. You know, I don't know.
In all fairness, we've created an environment where Danny should feel comfortable talking about Somerset Vaughn, and we went out of our way to alienate him. Exactly. Very good. All right. Very good. Danny Donatelli, you do a lot of great writing. You're a very interesting
best.
guy, and your column has even appeared on my website before. Anything you want to...
To mixed reaction, by the way. I don't know how well received some of the stuff that I've written has been. That's part of the
liked
reason.
it. I liked it, and our guest Abby loved it. So we have had some good people. But
I had heard that the family was a bit upset.
certain conservative members of the family.
I think one of the things I asked was when we did your column that week was I'm like, Danny does know that your parents read
Yes.
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I said the same thing I said
Yeah.
when Tom wrote his, which is like, my parents have a great sense of humor, even though they might not always feel so super comfortable with some of the subject matter. These are people who watch Chris Rock and all the other great
Yeah.
comedians. Like, they're totally down, and if their sons are doing it, it's not that much of a departure for them. So,
Oh, please.
although I don't think some of the stuff probably does disturb them. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
I just wanted. I thought it was pretty cool in that it was an auto satire, which is hard to pull off.
It's a great piece.
Yeah. I just felt like I wanted to come on here and apologize.
That's the reason. You didn't want us to apologize.
You didn't do anything.
Oh,
you just
man,
wrote
it's great.
about
What
it.
for? It was great,
That's
man.
great.
Oh my God.
That's great. No, Dan, it was awesome. Like, I really enjoyed it, and it generated one of our better.
That was
podcasts, so.
very enjoyable. I thought Abby
Yeah.
was fantastic. I want to
Yeah.
go on the record saying that she was a great response to that.
She
so.
was great. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that was super strong.
You
Danny,
need to come on and
all right,
apologize.
Dan. Anything else you want to apologize for? Do you have any other apology plugs? Is there anything else you've done in your life you want to?
I think we've covered. I'm a pretentious jerk.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
One.
No, let's tell everybody about what do you want to talk about? You do a lot of writing. You have a lot of good projects going on.
Yeah, it's been, I just have a website, gonefiction.com.
Spell Gone, G-O-N-E, fiction, like
Yeah,
fiction.
gone, yeah, it's very very clever. So I'll hold while everyone wraps their head around
Like
it.
gone, it's like Gone Fishing, only gone fiction.
Oh,
Yeah.
I got it.
Very good, very
Yeah.
good.
But
And,
don't go to gonefishing.com. It is completely
I
different.
hate those guys.
right.
Yeah.
Those guys and Danny have had a feud. they're trying to make Danny go to .net. That's how bad it's gotten. They want to push him into .net.
Don't go to carloshyman.com.
No, we know.
Oh, don't
We
go
all
to
know.
Carlos Hyman.
Although if I'm gonna plug a website that's not mine, which is Erotic Falconry.
Yes.
Anybody
What?
has not checked out the Erotic Falconry site,
No.
I highly suggest it. It is erotic and it has a lot of falconry.
Oh,
it's very
gosh.
good. Okay, Danny, thank you for making an appearance. It's always a pleasure. You're 2 for 2 on great podcasts.
Wonderful column, Joe. This was a real
Appreciate
winner.
it. Sean, did you have anything to say about the column?
I will only say what I thought about the column if Mike follows up with what he told me when I said what I thought about the column.
All right, fair.
Here it goes.
Lay it on the
I
table.
said, reading this column, best column hands down that I've ever read by Joe Donatelli.
Oh, that's nice.
From the speech to the turn into politics to the
I-
back into the speech.
And I said, hey, you can suck Joe's dick later. Sit down. We
Oh,
gotta
you're
start the-
sick. You should
No.
apologize.
We're running late.
You should
where's your
apologize.
apology?
Yeah.
We're running late.
We're gonna end
And
every
he knows
show.
I didn't mean it.
We're gonna end every show with a series of apologies from now on. That's we'll close it.
sorry.
And we'll go from the aftermath to the dantermath.
Well, no, I say we'll do Carlos, and then in 2012 we can start doing the rest of us.
That's true.
You can do 3 a show.
I
That would be a
apologize.
great. I would love to do 40 minutes of just things that Carlos wants to apologize for. That'd be great.
I'm sorry for kicking my cat. My
Yeah,
first cat.
exactly. It would start. It would start
Wow.
mundane and it would end tragic.
Yeah.
Very good. All right, everybody.
Sorry for Mike's haircut.
Oh, you had nothing
Not
to
as
do
sorry
with
as I
it.
am.
Excellent. Excellent.
That's like apologizing for the Holocaust. It's just as tragic, and you had nothing to do with
right.
it.
It's
Yeah.
not your fault. It's sad.
I
but
just
it's not
feel
your
bad. I
fault.
just feel bad. I'm sorry for Dan's article.
You're on a roll. Keep going.
And I'm sorry about this podcast.
Okay. Very good. Very apropos. Very apropos. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning into the second column. We will be back next week.
That's all for this episode of The Second Column. For more information, go to joedonatelli.com.